They remember me as a monster, a tyrant, a woman who clawed her way to the dragon throne. Let them. History is written by men, and I was never one of them. My name was Wu Zetian, but you know me as Wu Zetian, the only woman in over 3,000 years of Chinese imperial history to rule as emperor. Not consort, not empress dowager, but Wangdi in my own right. I wore the dragon robe. I sat alone on the throne, and I forced the world to bow. But I was not born to rule. I was born in 624 AD in the Tang dynasty, the second daughter of Wu Zetian, a wealthy timber merchant with minor ties to the court. He educated me in ways no girl should be taught: reading, calligraphy, even Confucian texts, the very tools men used to bind us. My mother disapproved, but my father saw something. At 13, I was summoned to the palace of Emperor Taizong, chosen for my beauty and quick wit to become a concubine. I entered the harem as Kairan Wu, ranked 5th tier, a girl surrounded by 100 women who smiled while potting my food. I washed his clothes, I served tea, I learned silence, and I listened. Taizong never loved me, but his son, Li Zi, he watched me. He heard me recite poetry in the gardens. He once said, "Your tongue is sharp, like steel wrapped in silk." I did not smile. I only bowed. When Taizong died, I was forced into Gonye Temple to become a Buddhist nun. That was the custom. Concubines of dead emperors were buried alive in robes. But Li Zi, now Emperor Gaozong, broke tradition. He retrieved me from the temple, made me his consort, and later made me empress. They say I seduced him with poison and spells. No. I used intelligence, observation, and one truth few men admit. Ambition in a woman terrifies them. I bore the emperor's sons. I managed the court. But still, they whispered. They called me cruel, unnatural. They clung to Empress Wang and Consort Zi, their darlings, their dolls, until they harmed my child. When my infant daughter was found dead in her crib, no one asked questions. No one investigated. But I knew which hands hated me most. I publicly accused Empress Wang and Consort Zi, not just of jealousy, but of murder. The court gasped, the emperor wept, the officials screamed for mercy. And I said nothing. I let them rot in prison. Their limbs were hacked, their titles stripped, their names erased. I was Empress Wu now. I did not celebrate, I fortified. I replaced eunuchs with loyal agents. I created a secret police. I planted eyes in every garden, ears in every hall. I rewrote laws to punish slander, to tighten my grip. Some called it tyranny. I called it survival. When the emperor's health declined, I issued edicts in his name. At first, no one noticed. Then they feared to question it. And when Gaozong died in 683, they assumed I would retire, fade into silk robes and incense. Instead, I became Empress Dowager and Regent, ruling behind the curtain while my sons wore the crown like puppets. But one by one, they disappointed me. One disobeyed, I exiled him. Another rebelled, I crushed him. A third turned soft, I replaced him, until at last, in 690 AD, I removed the illusion. I declared a new dynasty, the Zhou dynasty, and crowned myself emperor, not empress, emperor. They had never seen a woman on the dragon throne, not in robes of state, not in audience with generals, not issuing decrees that shaped an empire. But I did not flinch. I reformed the imperial examination system, allowing men of humble birth to rise through merit, not lineage. I elevated Buddhism as the state religion to weaken the Confucian scholars who despised me. I supported scholars, artists, engineers. I doubled grain reserves, reduced taxes, protected the borders. For 15 years, the people prospered, yet still, they hated me. Every decree I signed, they said, came from a witch. Every success was called stolen. Every son I disciplined became a martyr. I made enemies of aristocrats, scholars, monks, even my own blood. They say I executed dissenters. I did. But name one emperor who ruled without blood. They say I poison rivals. I did not need to. They drowned in their own fear. They say I worship demons. No, I worship strategy. I did not want immortality. I wanted impact. And yet, as I aged, I felt the walls tighten. I trusted fewer faces. I saw shadows where there were none. Even my most loyal guards changed over time. The whispers grew. She's too old. She's not divine. She was never meant to rule. I began to feel the weight, not of the throne, but of their hope that I would die. In my final years, I grew weary. I saw more ghosts than allies. My enemies gathered behind silk screens, in poetry circles, in tea houses and temples. Even my most loyal son, Li Xiong, began to conspire. I tried to name my youngest son heir again. They blocked it. I tried to return to seclusion. They begged me to stay, then poisoned the palace with rumors. In 705 AD, at the age of 81, I was forced to abdicate. My ministers stormed the inner palace in a coup. They didn't kill me, but they took my seal, my robe, my empire. I was too old to fight. They restored the Tang dynasty, renamed temples, tore down my monuments, rebranded my reign as a historical stain. They called it a correction. I called it cowardice. I died peacefully, officially, but peace is not what I left behind. I left a dynasty with a changed system, a state that never again ignored female intelligence, a country that knew a woman could sit where only gods once sat. They buried me next to Emperor Gaozong, as I requested. But my tombstone bears no inscription, not because I had no story, but because they feared what it would say. Centuries have passed. Still, they argue, was I a monster, or a reformer, a murderer, or a visionary? I was all of them. History has never known what to do with a powerful woman. They sculpt kings in marble, but women like me, they bury us in myth, scandal, and contradiction. But I remain. They cannot erase the laws I passed, the exams I made accessible, the millions who ate because I restructured grain distribution, the poets I funded, the temples I built. I was not perfect, but I ruled better than many men who never had to fight half as hard. And if my silence unnerved them, if my intellect terrified them, if my gender offended them, good, let my name haunt them. Let Wu Zetian remain the whisper in their legacy. Let the girls who read of me know, you can rise, you can reign, you can be the sword and the silk. If this story of ambition, survival, and betrayal from the ancient Chinese court moved you or opened your eyes to forgotten history, leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe. This is Hidden Signal, where history bleeds. Got a story idea or a period you'd love to see exposed? Send it through the link in the description. See you in the next dark chapter.